Now, everybody hold on for just a second. I've received a lot of comments recently because a while back I talked about why iOS does not need a file explorer like Finder that is on the Mac. It was one of my more controversial videos. A lot of people disagree, which is fine, by the way. That doesn't upset me. But of course, with the release of iOS 11, even before the keynote actually happened, we got that leak of the Files app. This is when everyone went nuts and said, see, they did make a file management system. They've finally done it, and you were wrong. Maybe now you can truly understand why we needed that on iOS. I've kind of brushed that off a little bit. I was like, yeah, okay, they made the file management system. I'm sorry, I was wrong. But I've been using iOS 11 for a couple weeks now. I've been noticing, like, is the Files app really a file management system? If you didn't realize it, no one was actually installing the Files app. All it really is an update to the iCloud Drive app. If you've noticed on iOS 11, there is no more iCloud Drive app. All of that is now embedded within the Files app. And I don't honestly see many differences. I've been watching videos online all the time of what you can do in the new Files app. Don't get me wrong, it is better than iCloud Drive, and it's clearly not the same thing, but I don't think it's a file explorer. Every time I go in there, there's this tab that says on my iPad. This is the most mind-boggling thing to me. You can drag things out of iCloud Drive, right? Because we now have drag and drop in iOS 11, which is cool, but you can't drag anything into the on my iPad tab, whether you're using pictures from a photo app or you're using the iCloud Drive section and you're trying to hit, add to my iPad. It just kind of blurs it out and says, oh, no, you can't add things there. And I'm like, well, what's the point of this tab? In the on my iPad tab, there's literally nothing, and the option to create your own folder so that you could actually have, files and organization methods just like your Mac does. That little folder add button is grayed out. Like, you can't do it. Why is it there in general? So maybe I thought, oh, okay, you have to search. If you go to the on my iPad tab and hit search, you will find all of the documents on your iPad. Nope. Went to the on my iPad tab, hit the search button, and just completely ridiculously, it only searches what's already in iCloud Drive. A lot of which you cannot access because a lot of what I put in iCloud Drive at least is from my Mac. So searching the iCloud Drive tab and searching the on my iPad tab is exactly the same thing, yet we have two different places to do the exact same search. This is very confusing to me. I'm not sure why they go this route. I mean, yes, it's nice that within iCloud Drive now we can add tags, we can get info about our files, but this isn't necessarily like having Finder. A lot of people have been acting like this is a whole new file management system, and it's not. This is simply a noticeable redesign to the iCloud Drive app. It's obviously no longer called iCloud Drive, it's called Files. The app logo is different, the layout is different, but for the most part, not that much has changed. You can now select multiple items at once, which is nice, and when you're in the iCloud Drive tab, you can hit download on things, but even when they're downloaded, they don't show up in the on my iPad tab, and they don't let you add it to the on my iPad tab. So I'm just fairly confused as to what the goal was with this. And to those people who haven't installed iOS 11 yet, because obviously it's in beta, understandable, don't think that this is exactly what Finder is on the Mac. It really isn't much different than the iCloud Drive we already had. There's just a couple more options, like looking at the size of files, being able to drag and drop. But for instance, one of the reasons I was kind of excited for having a file management system is I thought maybe, when I record my videos for this channel and other channels, I put all of the footage and audio into one folder. And since this new iPad Pro has 500 gigabytes, I thought, hey, when I'm done with it, I could airdrop it to the iPad and let all the files store on there, right? Until I back them up to the cloud or whatever. Just my iPad could be an airdrop enabled external hard drive. But I tried to do that. I got a folder full of all this footage. I airdropped it to the iPad, and the airdrop process worked, but doesn't show up in photos. And the only thing that's actually saved is the folder name. It didn't save any of the contents in that folder, and it wasn't like I could actually view those files either. Simple ones, like MP4 files, MP3 files. Like, if this truly was a file management system, then I feel like you should be able to view the same stuff you view on your Mac, which you can't. And of course, look, it is in beta. Perhaps the Files app is not ready at all, and it's going to drastically change before the release in the fall. That's certainly possible, and maybe it'll be capable of doing all these things I've mentioned, but that usually doesn't happen with betas. Typically, when they introduce a whole new app, you kind of get the idea of what it's used for, and right now, I don't know what it's for other than just accessing iCloud Drive. So yeah, you could say they added a file management system, but I'm just saying it's not exactly what you were all saying it was supposed to be. When I said Apple was not going to add one to iOS, I think it was because Apple was okay with you accessing all of your individual files within their individual apps. And I apologize, but a lot of you may have thought and were led to believe that with the new Files app, now that wasn't necessarily true, like you could view all of your files within that app. Not quite. Just a very very glorified refresh to the iCloud Drive app. That's all it is. So I hate to burst your bubble. I hope I didn't upset you too much. And if an update later this year can fix all of these problems and make it a true file management app, then great. I'll totally be on board with that because Apple thinks through things and will make this work. Let me know all your thoughts on the Files app in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.